What's up, everybody? Citizen Kimberly here. Welcome back to the channel, and now it's time for an episode of Netflix and Chop, where we slice open and dissect the feature film. Today's feature we're going to be discussing is a 2016 action, adventure, science fiction thriller, a horror named Daemonium. So the story starts off, and we're looking at a young lady. She has a lollipop in her hand. It's one of those spirals, but it's like the miniature version. And she's got it close to her mouth. Zoom in closely on the mouth just to add the right amount of sexualization. That is what we're getting upon first introduction to a character in this film. So we get a zoom out of the entire set, and what we're looking at is sort of a industrial pipe building that has smog coming from it, and the young lady is staring at the building. Now, mind you, she is schoolgirl uniform. She has the fringe going on, but to accentuate the fringe, we also have two pigtails on the side. So at first thought, we're looking at this film and we're thinking, what is this? Now, I want to remind everyone that Netflix, the rating on Netflix is almost 5 stars. So looking at the rating and then looking at the first introduction of the film in general, just the entire look, I'm thinking, this can't be real. This is a complete contradiction. But on where we go with the story. So we watch the young lady, and she enters the industrial steel building, and the smog is going, and it's dimly lit, and she's looking around. She's very curious, and all of a sudden there are some Cenobites that appear. Now, I'm going to call these things Cenobites. They look like a combination of zombies and Cenobites. But you know what? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call them Cinnabons. And if you don't know what a Cenobite is, I'll give you a reference. It's from the movie Hellraiser. But we're going to call these things Cinnabons, which is a combination of zombies and Cenobites. So Cinnabons appear, and they are surrounding this young lady. And she's just staring at them with this lollipop that she's still licking. Still licking the whole mouth, the zoom in on the pouty mouth and the licking of this lollipop. And then the Cenobites attack. And they're all over this young lady, but then she pulls out some Matrix moves. And she is chopping these Cenobites to holy high heaven. They are getting destroyed, and we're wondering, how in the world is this young lady doing this? Now, back to my first thought, I'm thinking, well, this just can't be the movie. Perhaps it's a dream sequence that I would assume that it just can't, it just can't be. This can't be how the entire movie is supposed to look with a almost 5-star rating. And I think that's hard to get on Netflix. So after the lady, after the young lady attacks these Cenobites, after she attacks the Cinnabons, they actually rise up. But then she pulls out a gun. So I'm thinking, wow, this must be some sort of special gun. She starts shooting the Cenobites. But what comes out of the gun is nothing more than paint. So I'm like, okay, so now she's got paintball going on. She's the young lady, the young schoolgirl with the lollipop is now pulled out a gun and is defeating these Cinnabons with a paintball gun. And this is how the film is progressing. So after she knocks down all of the Cinnabons, they rise up again. And we're like, what's going on? And all of a sudden, the lead head honcho Cinnabon appears. And he is wrecked. Now I have to give credit to the makeup and the Department of Gore. They're doing, but as well, we'll get into that later. So the young schoolgirl with the lollipop starts fighting the lead Cenobite or Cinnabon, And they're getting into this epic battle. We're still wondering how in the world is this young lady doing this, but she gets into a fight and she wins. She winds up running away, and then we are introduced to another host of characters to just kind of pop up on screen. So there's a league, and we're assuming that they're an army, and they kind of are on this mission. Within the mission, we have the lead character who's also introduced, and he is kind of a magician of sorts, a psychic, whatever it is he's doing, it's supernatural. It's and he knows what he's doing, but he's almost like how would I describe this dude? He's almost like a Captain Jack Sparrow. He's a little on the sleazy side. He's a little on the corrupt side, but he's here to kind of save whatever existence they're living on. He's here to save that. So they're on a mission. There's all these dudes, and he's explaining to these dudes, look, don't look at this demon that we are about to encroach upon. Don't stare him in the eyeballs. He'll take your eyeballs. Don't say word twice in the same sentence. That's bad. And he gives them a couple of other rules to follow. And at this point, we're like, okay, well, they're going to fail because that's too many rules. So they go into this kind of desert-laden area, and he's talking his magic talk, and all of a sudden the demon appears. Now, this demon, I'm gonna call him like head Cinnabite. Or head Cinnabun. So then this head demon appears, right? And he is spouting all of this trash to all of the people in this kind of army situation that they have going on. And from the back, there's a party within the army. And of course, he's got his eyes shut extremely tight. But he's like, I want all the power. I want power and the money, and I want power. Power, 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 like several times within one sentence. And of course, the demon is like, well, you suck. And off he goes. That's the end for him. Then someone else looks him directly in the eye, and off he goes. That's it for him. Meanwhile, the psychic magic guy is kind of like, well, I told you guys to just chill out. I gave you the rules, but now your eyes are snatched and you're also dead, so it's like, boo-boo. So basically everybody gets knocked out within this party, and except for one dude, and I believe his name is Razorback. So Razorback, and we actually get some backstory on Razorback, but we'll touch on that in just a second. So Razorback is like, alright, and he has this box that is supposed to be taken care of in exchange for something that has to do with this demon. So Razorback has this box, and the psychic dude is like, okay, you know, guard the box. And Razorback, he's like, yes. So off we go. Razorback is toting this box along in this desert area, and he tries to hide from the demon, but then the demon finds him, and he has his eyes shut tight, and the demon's like, you know, with his demon jargon, and all of a sudden Razorback goes to the dark side, and he's like, I'll give you this box, but I want all the money. I want all the power and all the women. And the demon dude is like, okay. So what he does is he takes his demon claw and he scratches Razorback's face like all the way down to his cheek, and Razorback loses what it looks like is that Razorback is losing the sight in his right eye. It's glassed over. He's now a blind man with this scar. The psychic dude is really upset by this. We'll meet again. Meanwhile, the backstory on Razorback is that he has this wife, and she seems like a really cool chick. She in this test, in this really neat looking test situation that they have going on. It's like this electrical kind of device, and then a little tag comes out and it says Patizo, whatever it is. It's positive. This movie is actually subtitled in Spanish, so I probably said that incorrectly, but it said positive. And Razorback's wife is a really nice person. She's really excited about this child, and the sad thing is that she gets captured because Razorback, of course, has committed treason. He has turned over to the dark side and kind of done injustice to his people. So Razorback's wife gets snatched by the company that's after Razorback, and then several months later, after she's totally grown this baby in captivity, she is made aware that Razorback never returned home. He dissed her, and she actually loses the baby, and from there she's out for blood. And she kind of teams up with this other character that's introduced within the story. We're going to call her Ice Woman because she carries around these lightsaber swords that when she sticks them into people, they just turn to ice, and that's that. She can crush their skull. Blood is just completely frozen. And Razorback's wife she is in training, and she uses strings to attack her victims. So we call her Strings. So Razorback's wife has teamed up with Ice Woman. Razorback's wife is now Strings, and they are all fighting to get the power within this society that they have. So now I'm going to stop with the plot analysis, and I'm going to go straight into my thoughts on the film. So look, as I've said before, this film is subtitled. It is Spanish. It is about an hour and 54 minutes long. As far as stylistically, I'm going to say that I wasn't quite into the look of the film, the way that it was shot. It's almost like, I felt like it was a little low budget, like the quality of the film. I don't really know how to put it into words. Maybe more or less like an upgraded version of a home movie is the first impression that I would get from looking at the film. As I said before, I was like really confused because I thought that perhaps this was like a dream sequence, because you know sometimes people like to put things that look a little bit jank in dream sequences. Like I was like, oh, we're gonna flash to what the film really looks like in just a couple of minutes, but that never happened. As far as the storyline, it's not that it was a bad storyline. It was pretty creative for sort of a science fiction kind of horror kind of theme that they had going on. That's not really my argument. I mean, yes, some parts were a little choppy, but they don't really leave too much loose ends. The simple fact is that you can be a science fiction will allow you to be as creative as possible. So they do allow for that, but they do tie up the story well. It's not like they're gonna leave you feeling, you know, like your brain circuits are fried or anything like that. However, there were some parts in the film that I felt were kind of drawn out, and I felt like I kind of lost my way with it. I was drifting off at certain points. I don't feel like it quite held my attention to the extent that a film as such should. And also, you know, on a positive note, I will say that there are some creative, gory scenes that are made within this film. I thought that that's probably one of the best parts that happened, that took place within this film. They were really good with all of the gore and all of the kind of action scenes that kind of happen later in the film. But as for capturing my attention with the film in general, it kind of didn't do that. So I'm gonna say that it's a hit. It's a hit or I'm gonna say that if it were a hit or a miss, I would call it a miss, but I'm not gonna call it a fail. So if you are into science fiction and you do like action, you might want to take a gander at it. If you're into horror, or if you're into gore, because it really wasn't scary, so I don't want to say that it's horror. I'd say that it's more gore. So if you're into that sort of thing where it's very, you know, it's very over the top. The gore scenes are really in your face. There's blood. It's really interesting to look at, sort of like art. If you're into that sort of thing, then you will like it. As far as a storyline, like, at least they didn't try to make you feel stupid, but I still wasn't quite into it. If you're into films that give you something, then something that won't make you feel like you are, silly. It will make you laugh. I will say that I laughed a lot because, it was completely outrageous. Like, some of these action scenes were outrageous, some of the dialogue were outrageous. I don't think it was supposed to be, but due to my own sense of humor, I found a lot of entertainment in it. But as I said before, like, I did zone out. I do believe it in several sections of the film. I don't think that that's quite the way that a film should make you want to be in its surroundings. You probably want to zone in and stay there because you've got your attention captured, and that's kind of not what I did. So those are my thoughts. I'm going to leave you with that. If you guys have watched this film before, then leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. I always enjoy reading them. And if you have watched a movie that is maybe comparable to this film, then let me know that also. And that's going to do it for this video. And as always, until next time, if you're into it, watch it.